Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Gunnerstown pub. It's great to have you here joining us with this, what will hopefully be a celebratory pubcast after the Arsenal Slavia Prague quarter-final second leg. And I'm joined tonight with Gav Shewar. Gav, how are you doing?
How you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, better than I was 3 hours ago.
Tell me about it.
And yeah, and I'm joined as well by Andy, who's Guna South on Twitter. Andy, nice to have you with us.
Cheers, Paul. Thanks very much.
It's good to have you. Yeah, let's just get right into it. So, firstly, just if you're listening or watching, you can post comments, and we will try and get to some of them as we go along and put them up on screen. So, just post your comments, and we'll get to them when we can. But I'd like to start with a hot take. Gav, do you want to give me your hot take? Just a short rundown on.
Yeah, no, I mean, basically, it was what it was. I mean, we completely destroyed them in the first 25 minutes, didn't we? Absolutely run them ragged. Unlucky not to be 4-0 up, really, by a fingernail of an offside decision. I guess my hot take is I wish we'd done that at the home game. If we'd done it at the home game, then tonight would have been a lot more stress-free for everybody leading up to it. But as I just put out on Twitter, it's the Arsenal. We never do things the easy way. I don't think we're ever going to do things the easy way. But like I say, all come good tonight. All come good.
It did indeed. Andy, your hot take?
Yeah, I'll go along with that. I think it's a good call, that, Gav. I think the hot take for me, Paul, is that we didn't concede, which would have been very Arsenal-like, I think. And, you get that little bit of the edginess and stuff when the other team score, but we didn't do that tonight. So for me, the hot take for me is I thought, like Gav, we killed the game in the first 25 minutes, and that's Arsenal-like. It can be Arsenal-like, but we don't see it often enough.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, I forgot to ask what you guys are drinking, because it is a pub. I've got my customary fish bowl of gin. Which initially was just to calm the nerves, but now it's actually turned celebratory, which is a far more enjoyable gin. Gav, what are you drinking?
Right now, I've got bottles of Moretti I'm on tonight.
Okay, going fancy, huh?
Oh, I had a little bit of an overdose on the Peroni Tuesday night,
Okay.
leading into Wednesday morning. So like I say, today's been a bit of and yesterday was a bit of a slog. But I had a couple of Fosters earlier to sort of lighten the mood, and then it's been Moretti during the game.
Nice. Andy, your tipple of choice?
Peroni for me, Paul. I had one just before the game because I thought, like Gav, I think I need this. I think I'm going to need a couple. And then after the first 20 minutes, I only had a couple through the game. So I've just finished off a Peroni as we speak.
Well, yeah. So you just touched on kind of what my hot take was, that it seemed for a change that we came out of the gates with a bit of energy, and it looked like we were up for it. We put great pressure on them in the first few minutes, and that just really helps me calm my nerves, because I always feel like in the first few minutes of watching this Arsenal team, you can almost predict whether it's going to be a good game or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like there's games when like 5 minutes into the Liverpool thing, you go like, man, this is not looking good. Anyway, I think most of our watchers are feeling the same. We've got a hi from Israel there. Happy Guna. There's a good comment here. Great all-round performance from everyone tonight. Solid at the back, composed up front. Very happy right now. Unai Emery, we're coming for you. Come on, you Gunners. Here you go. Hope we don't get rid of Blacker. We'll deal with that later. Anyway, so pretty much most of the comments right now are talking about, happy Gooners, which they are. Andy, did you have any particular highlights? I mean, I think in a game with so many goals and with such a solid performance, it's probably hard to highlight one. But if there's anything that just jumps to the front of your mind right now, what would that be?
Well, it's the fact, as I said, Paul, I think the fact we didn't concede, I think that gives you such a good base. Gives you a little bit more confidence when they're solid at the back. You're not going to. They didn't really look like scoring, did they? To be fair, and I think that for me gave the forward players a little bit more license. And so if there was one thing that would jump out to me, because we, as I said earlier, we don't really see that often. and it was just like a breath of fresh air tonight.
It was. Is there anything in particular that you put that down to? I've always felt like Rob Holding paired with Pablo Mari is his best partner. I feel they're pretty solid together. They seem to work well. And obviously Xhaka, had a good game over the weekend playing that kind of left back role. And I think he was good. Is there anything that you felt maybe made the defence as solid as it was tonight, or was it just...
I think Paul as well. That's a good call. I also think, and I was going to say this a little bit later, but I thought Callum Chambers was very, very solid at right back. And I think when you've got Saka playing wide right, you've got Pepe playing left. If your two fullbacks, are covering well, are getting the ball. And listen, everybody in the world knows I'm not a Xhaka fan, but I thought he played really, really well tonight. So that for me, the back four and the not conceding would be the thing that really jumped out at me.
Okay, great. Gav, your highlight, if you had one.
I think you've got to give credit to all of the front 3-4 players, really. Especially, it was them that actually destroyed them. Smith Rowe and Xhaka link up very, very well. Pepe had a very good game for us. Lacazette it was a captain's performance from him. Do you know what I mean? He scored 2 goals. He was dropping deep. He was leading the line. So it was just nice to see the front, what I call the front three, and Smith Rowe, all firing. And like I say, that they just absolutely ripped them apart. And we've just got to hope that there's a few more of them kind of performances in all 4 of them between now and the end of the season.
Be nice, wouldn't it?
Right. That would be great. The highlight for me was if you looked at those first 3 goal scorers, with Lacazette, Saka, and Pepe, playing a team that had been accused of racism. I just thought it was really cool that those are the first players on the team sheet. And there was a great photo going around Twitter of the Arsenal players taking the knee, with the Slavia Prague folks, doing the kind of the All Blacks, the anti-Haka kind of thing. But yeah, so it was just good to kind of put them in their place. And they're not a bad team. They knocked out Leicester, they knocked out Rangers, and after the first leg, it might have looked like it would have been more difficult. I don't know if anyone would have predicted the win that we had tonight.
Nah.
But, yeah, so the highlights, those are easy. Was there any lowlights in particular, Gav? Was there anything that you feel needs addressing?
No, not really. I mean, there's nothing you really can say after we've got away in a European game against a team that I think I heard something like they've only let in 5 goals in about 13 home games, and we've just smacked 4 against them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I say, Leicester couldn't score there, and so it's all. I can't see anything negative about this evening, really. Perhaps Arteta could have been a bit braver. And done a few substitutions a little bit earlier, but I mean, apart from that, you can't complain. We've just won 4-0. We're in another semi-final of another cup competition. There's nothing to moan about, mate. Apart from Kroenke and Vinay.
I'm sure we'll get to that later.
That's never going to change.
They can still both fuck themselves.
Exactly. Andy, I'm presuming that you don't have any lowlights to dump on.
No, I don't. But the only thing I would say, being an old moaner in the East Stand as I am, even now, I maybe would give, at 4-0 up, I maybe would have given a couple of the kids that haven't played before maybe a little taste on the pitch, maybe 5-10 minutes. But other than that, I'm with Gav and you. I'd see nothing. Everything was positive tonight. The whole lot enjoyed it immensely, which is unusual at the moment, I think.
For me too.
It was nice.
I think the only low light was not to be there, because I was looking at like in the 89th minute, and I was thinking of that feeling that you get when you're at a big European away game and you've just beaten them, and they're going to make you stay in the stadium while they empty the stadium of losers, and then you're going to go back to your hotel and it's going to be like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, or maybe the plane, get back to Luton at like 7. And you'll just be smiling here from ear to ear because it's all worth it. Drunk as fuck from the beer all day, and then a game like that again. So yeah, the low light for me is the pandemic. It's that hasn't been great. I'm going to just address some of these comments here. Let's see if there's anything that's worth performing. So pretty much most people have saying how much they enjoyed the performances. There's been a mention of Lacazette. I think we can talk about him a little bit later. And then so substitutions, because you both touched up on that. So Gav, do you think it would have been, would it have been bold or stupid to bring on Balogun and maybe some of the youngsters earlier, giving them a chance? I think Balogun ended up with like 2 minutes, That's not very much, is it?
No, exactly. But I mean, when it comes to him, obviously it's boding well. Obviously, the rumours are he's going to sign a new deal with us. So he's
done it, hasn't he? Hasn't he signed?
I'm not sure if he. I haven't seen it on. I ain't seen it on Arsenal.com if he has. All of
there was a picture of him at the table signing it. I thought.
Was there?
I'm sure I saw that today. I mean, someone will correct us, I think, but I'm sure I saw that.
Okay. Either way, if he has or he hasn't, obviously it's a sign that he's staying. It's a sign that Arteta's trusted him to bring him away on a European game, and he's chucked him on. It would have been nice for him to have got like 10 minutes. It would have been nice for that young left back perhaps to have got a few minutes as well. But you've got to be very, very bitter and have a very, very strong agenda to actually want to have a moan about Arteta this evening. Because you set them out, they've done the job 4-0, and if we want to sort of like talk about the substitutions, etc., we're really, really nitpicking. It's like really like top class nitpicking it if we're going to have a pop at him. But it's always nice to see the young lads come on. But it is what it is. We just won 4-0. Smile, be happy.
With Arsenal, we'll always find something to complain about, right? So you win 4-0 and you're like, why didn't you make your substitutions earlier and put the anyway? So especially after all the talk, that Arteta had maybe lost the dressing room and the players weren't playing for him. I think Dave Seeger made a comment quite early on the game saying it's a laugh that people accusing just saying that Arteta's lost the dressing room. Have you got anything that you think about that, Andy? There've been moments where it seems like it's difficult, like the relationship.
I think, mate, that to me, all this trusted process, I do understand that, and I understand people's gripes and moans, and I do get it because I think we're very well known for it. We're not fickle like the other lot down the road, but because we still go, But I think, as Gav said, if you're moaning tonight, then the agenda you've got is probably not right for you, to be fair. This club probably ain't right for you. You've got to get behind him. I would have brought the subs on, maybe. Just give him a little touch. Look, Balogun, if you have signed a contract, there you go, mate. Just have 10 minutes. There's my faith in you. I've just repaid a little bit of you, But that's not a gripe. It's just, as Gav said, probably picking. So I do apologise to our listeners if they think that.
Yeah, I saw some comments on Twitter about, people saying bring on Balogun and those guys. But when I saw Nketiah and Martinelli, lined up, I thought, those guys also need to play. They haven't exactly, had a lot of playing time this season, and they are higher up on that list. So,
but Paul, what I can do. I think, listen, I get that, but what Nketiah can do. I think really just maybe give the other kid a little taste of what it could be like if he works hard in training. But I'll take the point.
Maybe Arteta is trying to hang on to Martinelli, Lacazette, Nketiah, Balogun. I understand putting having players play so that you can see what they can do is probably important. But also, if you want those players to play for you and be happy, I think you kind of got to give
possibly.
them all
I think 4-0 up, you've got the opportunity to maybe. But listen, he knows what he's doing, so.
Well, there was a comment earlier. There was a comment earlier about Martinelli. He had a great little cameo, and I'm glad he came on. He had a good run against Sheffield. I'm glad he got that goal. And this was a very Chelsea-esque kind of run that he had from the touchline. I mean, from the sidelines, and almost almost put it in the bottom corner. Gav,
He
what do you
did
think
all
of
the hard work,
Martinelli's?
didn't he?
He did all the
Yeah,
hard work. Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to look at that because he's normally very, very clinical when it comes to that. And he'd done the hard work. He got in front of the fella. It was a lovely run. It looked to me, and I ain't making excuses for Martinelli, but it looked to me like the ball just bobbled a little bit as he went to hit it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Not a lot. I was looking because I was thinking like when he's missed it, I'm thinking there's got to be. He don't normally miss them. Do you know what I mean? And
Right.
as I was watching the replay, it does look like the ball just took a little bit of a strange sort of wobble, bounce, or as he went to hit it, and that's why it was off. But it weren't off by much. But
No,
again,
didn't
like
go
I say,
that- did it?
nah. Do you know what I mean? It was only a couple of inches wide of the post, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From that angle as well. But it's almost an embarrassment of riches when you look at the fact that Martinelli's not getting a start. Do you know what I mean? And a bang for what anybody wants to say about him.
Well, he's got
tucked his way
malaria,
off.
right? So
Malaria.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I'm from those that part of the world where malaria is an issue. So, and my brother actually has had it, and it's a horrible disease because it just keeps it's not, there's no cure for it. So, the malaria parasite finds ways of hiding and avoiding your immune system in your cerebral cortex. It disappears behind your kidney, and then it'll come out, and it's quite debilitating. So he's had, and he had it since the international break. Then
question for you, Paul. He's been, because I say I haven't got any knowledge whatsoever on malaria and all that malarkey, right? But he went away, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks ago. He was in Africa.
Yeah.
So if he caught it out there, how long does it take from catching malaria to actually being like ill with it? Is it like an instant thing? Is it like a 2-week incubation?
It's not instant. It's like a sleeping sickness. It makes you really kind of makes you really tired and fatigued. But with all this other stuff going around, with with the COVID and all that stuff, if you're just feeling out of sorts and tired and maybe a little bit achy, I'm not sure that the first thing that people would do to test you for it, because they have to test, that you do a blood test and to see if you've got the malaria parasite. And I'm not a doctor, and all I know about malaria is that gin helps. Apparently, the quinine used to keep the colonial safe from the mosquito. But so it could easily have been mistaken for fatigue or just generally not giving an arse anymore, which he was accused of. But it's nice to know it's malaria.
Well, not nice, it's malaria, but
nice for us, not nice for him. That's why he's been so shit recently, because he got malaria. I'm kidding. Our goals. We're in the pub, right? This is
Pub talk.
Open mic. Pub talk, exactly. Do you want to just let's go through the goals, Andy? Do you want to talk about the first one? And actually, that 7 minutes between like the 18th and the 25th minute were pretty interesting.
I said to my wife, I said, we've got to start quickly. And I went out to open the beer, and I come back and I thought, blimey, we're having a little go here. And as Gav said, alluded to earlier, the front three, I thought, worked really, really well. And to be fair, the first goal, I mean, Smith, I think he's very Bergkamp-esque. I've said that on Twitter before, but it reminds me of a cross between Bergkamp and Merson. The way he runs with the ball at his feet, like the Merce used to do. And I thought his play for the first goal was outstanding. Just my opinion, of course.
Absolutely. In fact, his goal that was disallowed was weird, right? Because I don't know about your stream, but they didn't show any kind of offside. No, they didn't show it at all. And I was like, when I watched it live, it was one of those weird bounced off behind the keeper, off the crossbar, and then he put it away because he was smart. Yeah. And they were like, VAR is checking it for 3 minutes.
He
just showed
he said to the referee, walking off, didn't he? Did you see him? He went, was that offside? It wasn't by much, was it? And he sort of went like that with his fingers to say it was minuscule.
It was different though. It it's not normally when there's like a VAR decision, you see what's going on. Do you know what I mean? You see the lines and all that coming up, but you just didn't get any of that at all. So you're just sort of sitting there waiting and waiting. And the longer it went on, I was thinking, they're going to do. You just know, they're going to.
You thought they had it in for us, and the game's just going to. We're not allowed to win this one. You know what I mean? That's what crossed my mind. It's like, oh, those VAR souls are going to come at us again. You know,
they're anti-Arsenal.
The thing was though is what we did well about that was, well, okay, we can get at these now, and we were straight back at them. So when we did actually score the first goal, which was only a few minutes later, I think that sort of almost, I think that almost done us a bit of sort of luck, really. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, okay, this one ain't allowed. Let's get back at them again. And I think that was the sort of attitude throughout the whole of the first half was, let's just get at these. Do you know what I mean? What I did find funny was for the penalty, right? Is the ref's blown up for it straight away, right? The ball was dribbling into Pepe's feet, who's more or less like bang centre, just outside the 6-yard box, didn't he? Right? And he had a moan at the ref, and he sort of like was laughing at the ref, was saying like,
"Why didn't you play on? I would have scored that."
Yeah, I fancied that. Do you know what I mean? But it was a well taken penalty though by Lacazette. I thought it was a very, very good penalty because you see him and he sort of slowed down on his run and waited till the keeper went. Do you know what I mean? The keeper just gave him away. The keeper just gave himself away, and he just slotted it in the corner.
He takes great penalties. I must admit, I kind of feel quite comfortable, when he's behind the ball on a penalty kick. Whereas, there's other players that have been our primary kick takers that I haven't had that much confidence in. Aubameyang, remember when Ozil took a couple, you go like, oh my God, this is probably not going to cross the line,
Here's another one about Lacazette, right? Do you remember when they used, I think we're probably going back a couple of years, and he used to get absolutely blasted for the amount of goals that he scored at home compared to the amount of goals that he scored away. Mm-hmm. And the amount of away goals he's got now this season, I think it's something like 3 or 4 times more than the home goals. So he's really, especially away from home, I think the way and the style that we play away from home really, really just suits his game. It absolutely suits his game.
Do you know what I think that is, Gav? I think because I think Arteta's probably got him more involved in the game because he drops a lot deeper sometimes now to pick the ball up. And therefore I feel he feels more part of the game. He feels like he's adding something, so he starts it and he wants to get on the end of it. Whereas before, sometimes, especially in the away games, he did cut a really lonely figure, didn't he? But now I feel he's more into the game, he's more involved, and he drops deep and he brings other players in. And that's, to me, is a big part of the reason why he's scoring more goals for me.
Well, Arteta did try him like that, sort of from the beginning of the season. He was almost trying him in like a sort of, almost, almost like a hybrid 8-10. He was trying to play him.
False 10 or even,
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But he still does that now. You see him sometimes. He's coming back and getting it off, getting the second or third ball off, and he's sort of in the centre circle. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that spell of games that he had in there has actually done him good, and his work rate. You can't slaughter his work rate. Do you know what I mean?
He always puts in a shift, Gav. I mean, even when the rest of the team seem to be, like we've had a couple of performances of the last, 5 or 6, where the team has just generally been shit. Lacazette doesn't stop running. He's front and back. He's harrowing. He's good with link-up play, and I think what I like seeing is when he's with Saka and Smith Rowe. Their energy is infectious, and I think his quick touches and their little triangles and the way they bring each other into the game, I think it just really helps, up our pace as a team, as a whole, and I think that, those 7 minutes and when we scored the first 3 goals, if we could just do that, constantly for 90 minutes, we'd be lethal. We'd be absolutely lethal.
No.
So the third goal, that was Pepe's goal on his own, right? Is that no? Pepe had the first goal just after Smith Rowe's disallowed goal.
Just after the
Then
disallowed
there was a
goal,
penalty, and then the next goal was
Saka.
Who scored the third one? Saka, that's right.
Saka.
So talk me through that one, Gav, because I thought Saka had a good first half, and I think he and Smith Rowe were both quite quiet in the second. But
Yeah, no, it's almost like them two have been playing like together, throughout the youth teams and everything. So they've obviously got this understanding. They've almost it's almost sometimes that they've got this sort of like little bit of telepathy going on between the pair of them. And again, it was nice to see he's got his chance. He's sort of cut in and he's just chopped it in the corner. And the keeper was expecting him to go the other way, so the keeper was just completely standing there, flat-footed, and
it didn't move.
It didn't move. No, because again, like I say, I look at silly little things when they show you the replays, and the keeper was going to his right, and just before he shot, he took a step to the right. Saka smacks it, and there's no way in the world the keeper could have done anything. He was just left completely going the wrong way and completely flat-footed. Yeah, he was just like, can't do nothing, mate. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So
flat-footed thing.
It was good, and Saka needed that because he's missed a couple of sitters lately, hasn't he? So he needed a goal as well. Do you know what I mean? And it's just nice. It's nice when your three front players all get a goal. Do you know what I mean? That's the beauty of it, because we ain't got a striker who's going to bang 25 goals a year for us at the moment. But if we've got 3 or 4 or even 5, forward players who are going to contribute, 10, 15 each, then that's where the goals are coming from. And you want the goals spread about as well.
Yeah, we definitely need goals from the midfield. Yeah.
And that's that was another point I was going to mention before you sidetracked me, Paul. Right, was the fact.
It's not me. It's the gin. It was the gin.
Yeah, no, I was going to say it's a minute ago. What I did actually really enjoy as well, right, is there's the hunger to get in the box, and so like it's not just Lacazette in the box. There's 2, 3, 4 of them in the box when the ball's going over, and that just makes it immensely hard to run against. And correct me if I'm wrong, Andy, but that's something we weren't doing at the beginning of the season, mate, was it?
No, absolutely. I mean, they picked it up on every channel, didn't they? And even watching the games, I think everybody on Twitter spoke about it. It's lovely crossing the ball, but when you've got no one in there, and I think you make a good point there, Gav. I think that if you look now, they're not always in the box, but they're either arriving or they're they're waiting for the pullback, or they're understanding that Pepe sometimes is going to get a ball across, and so is Saka from the other side. So I think you're right. They're getting in the box now, and we're getting a chance, aren't we? So,
Well, exactly.
There's still time. Yeah, that's a good point. There's still times I feel that we either have 5 people attacking the actual goalkeeper, and nobody at the cutback, or we have everybody at the cutback and nobody cuts in, and they're going for the line. You know what I mean? It's kind of strange because you've got 5 people in the box, but they're all in the line, and the ball either goes behind them or in front of them. Because there was some amazing.
That, Paul.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Pepe zinged a couple across that. You literally just had to sniff at that thing; it would have gone in, but there was nobody, just to sniff at it. So the 4th goal was the Lacazette thing. I thought he was quite composed, to take that goal. Andy, do you want to talk through that one?
Yeah, I think he realised that. I mean, if you watch, like Gav says, if you watch little things in the replay, the defender that he did when he sort of sidestepped the ball looked absolutely lost. I mean, he looked like he did score, mate, because I don't know if you guys noticed it, but he really did do a good touch, Lacazette, and just
he pulled it across like a drag over, right, with his.
And I thought the defender with him just went, "You're done with it, mate. I'm going to go home now and see what's on the telly." He was miles away, and I thought that was a very accomplished finish, and I like the fact, for me.
Yeah, no, same here.
Also
was
got that in his game, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's what, Gav?
Yeah. It was composed. Do you know what I mean? It weren't the greatest of touches, etc., but he was composed. and he knew where he was doing. That's just a lovely finish, mate. Really.
And there was 2 defenders on him there. He did 2 of them. He didn't just do one. When he stepped to the left. But if you watch it again, just watch the on the replay. The fellow with the dark hair just goes, "Yeah, good night." I like that. So that to me was a well taken goal. To be fair.
I think it's great for us. I mean, Lacazette has now, I think it's either 6 and 7 or 7 and 7. You know, you got 2 on the weekend against Sheffield. You got another 2 tonight.
Yep.
It's great to have that kind of confidence going forward. And I've always said I think he's a confidence player. You know, because he gets a lot of flack for missing chances that, you know, to us sitting safely on our couches look so clear and obvious. You know. So it's nice.
And coming at the right time, Paul, as well. Coming at the right time.
And they're coming at the. I was just going to say
where we are in the semi-final now. And the last time we played at Villarreal, which was a cracking night, to be fair. For more than one reason, I think we painted the town red and white that night. I think if he's, as Gav said, if he's getting the goals away goals, it could stand. He could just be in the peak of his season at the right time for us.
Yeah. So. Well, it's the business end now. Let's be honest. Now it's the business end of the season now. Do you know what I mean? We've still got a sneak that we could get up to sort of 6th or 7th if results go our way, and we keep up winning games in the league. But it's the business end. It's the semi-final of a European competition, and let's be honest, we've been shit in Europe our whole fucking existence, right? We have. Do you know what I mean?
I know, but you don't have to keep saying it, Gav. It's hard enough knowing it than having people saying it all the time. Yeah, we know it here in our hearts.
Stop being a doom and gloom merchant, Gav, in other words.
I'm fucking happy, you pair of bastards. Do you know what I mean?
No,
on me.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm interrupting you again. So you think that you think things are going to change, or are we going to we're going to have another fucking Baku experience? You know?
Oh, who knows, mate? Who knows?
Oh, don't.
Please God, no, because I remember the conversation at that time, how that was make or break for Arsenal, like our future as a club. You know, we had to beat Chelsea, we had to win that Europa League, get back into the Champions League, and resume business as normal. I've like my heart can't take it anymore. I feel like every single game that we have now, you know, these Europa League games coming up, even the Premier League games coming up. I mean, everything just seems so loaded and fraught with, you know, the possibility of failure.
Well, as Gav says, Paul, it's the business end, mate. If we're not Europe, I'm not quite sure, you know, where we go, really. I don't want to become a team that just suddenly, you know, well, we're not in
drops
Europe.
off.
No, maybe we don't. Yeah, drops off, and you start to become like I can't think of anybody offhand, but, you know, one of them sort of teams that, you know, not that we'll ever go down or anything like that, but mid-table beckons, and I don't. So it is important.
Well, so, you know, big teams have done that. In Liverpool, for instance, you know, like dominated for so long, and then, you know, 31 years or whatever it took, you know, to get back up to the top. And well, they had a few Champions League wins in the middle that always get, you know.
Is that all? Yeah. Well,
I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a bit of the European luck even if it
just
meant win the league for a while.
Nice.
No, imagine winning 3 or 4 Champions Leagues. Yeah, that'd be good. That'll shut everyone up. Naysayers. There was a penalty call later on in the game. I think Lacazette was through, and the defender slid in and kind of took out his
left leg. Standing leg.
Didn't even look at that. The VAR just was like, they flashed it on the screen and showed what looked like an obvious penalty, and then they just carried on playing it. It was just, I don't understand. And you know what was awful, and people have complained about it before, is that first goal with that interminable looking at the ref doing his offside line thing and VAR never showing it. I'd already tweeted like 6 or 7 times, ESR, yes, Emil Smith-Rowe, yeah, great, Arsenal. And I was like, hold on. The fuck? And it's like that in the stadium, you know. Goal. And then you go, the screen. It's the screen of death.
There's been a few people on Twitter, haven't they, that have showed themselves jumping up and down. I won't name names. I think we all know who I'm talking about. Jumping up and down when goals have gone in and going, yeah, going really mad. And they're filming themselves. And then they suddenly realise the goal's been disallowed. So We never do it. I never do it. Always wait.
You know,
No.
they should have one of those beach balls spinning around, like, or loading. You know, like when the internet used to be really slow, and like the picture would come, and you could see, like, you know, who is it? Is it Arteta? Is it Arteta? No, it's
Yeah,
Xhaka,
yeah.
and the picture would like load line by line. You know, they should have like a loading sign or something. You know, VAR, like, you know. Sorry for the glitch. I'm gonna have a look at some of these comments, see if there's one I wanted to go back to. Olaf, who is on this vlog, on this Pubcast quite frequently, says that Ornstein reported that Balogun has signed, but there's no official news on that. So I don't know where that picture is that you saw, Andy. But
Oh, I
if
saw
you've got
somebody
it.
put that on Twitter today. I saw him sat down signing. It might have been his youth contract. I
Maybe
don't
his
know, but
Instagram or something.
Might have been, yeah.
yeah, possibly.
it-
I'm getting old, so
It's like I say. I've spent all day looking at the Twitters and all that malarkey anyway, but it is normally up on Arsenal's actual official
the website.
one.
Yep.
Yeah, but
So
like I say, we'll see. But I mean, like I say, if everybody's saying it's done, and he's gone away with the squad for the European game, and he's got a couple of minutes on the pitch, so it's all pointing that he signed a deal, which is a bit surprising,
Yeah,
really.
possibly.
I thought he'd do a runner.
yeah, it seemed
he
like
does.
it, and maybe Liverpool have calmed down their interest, and that might, you know, now that they're not as, you know, that they're kind of struggling a little bit right now. Maybe they weren't quite as attractive. That could be maybe played into it. You know, maybe
who
they're
knows?
looking elsewhere. Anyway,
Who knows?
who cares?
But again,
We've got him.
it's like exactly. But the thing is too many people get too excited about youngsters coming through who haven't even kicked a ball in anger yet. Do you know what I mean? I mean, right now we should be excited about players like Saka and Martinelli. We should just let Balogun just
Smith Rowe.
get on. Yeah, and Smith
Yeah.
Rowe. Do you know what I mean? Let's concentrate on the young kids that are making their breakthroughs now.
Yeah,
And not go sort of completely mental. I mean, you saw Arsenal put up a tweet about the Duke of Edinburgh, and you're scrolling through it, and you're seeing loads of announced Balogun, signed Balogun, and you're thinking, what planet are these people on? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway,
I think they just
go on.
they just kind of seize, you know, these kind of issues and turn them into, you know, like life or death situations, and they really,
But yeah,
they
it's,
really
it's,
aren't.
yeah, like I say, it's not good. If he doesn't sign for us, it's not going to be the end of the world. Do you know what I mean? Let's concentrate on the boys that have got long contracts and that are doing it on the pitch at the moment.
Yeah, and also you can't look at players that have left and suddenly become like brilliant. I mean, you know, that happens at the time. You've got choices. We've let players go that have turned out to be great, like Serge Gnabry. You know, it happens. Shit happens. You know, you can only do so much. It's something I wanted to touch on though, and maybe you could talk me through this, Andy. You know, talking about players improving and having good games. As Xhaka in the last two games played that left back situation, I thought he was amazing today. I thought he was solid. He was a real leader. He was kind of everywhere. He made some great interceptions. He seemed calm on the ball. His passes were incisive. Is there something to be said for the fact that without having as an adventurous left back as like a Tierney, or even Suarez when he's in that position with those, you know, the backs acting as wing backs and wings and bombing up the field, it was kind of interesting having one solid, stable side, and I think it kind of gave more energy to the other side for attack. Is there anything you want to say about that?
Do you know
having
what,
Xhaka in
Paul?
that
I
position-
think, I'm not his greatest fan, Xhaka. I've got to be honest. I think when he's in the midfield, he's too slow. He's pedestrian. He gets caught with the ball. I know what he's going to do. Sit up the tier in the East Stand before he's even got the ball. I know what he's going to do, and everybody else does. But tonight and the last couple of games, although Sheffield United and this mob tonight, you know, I'm not saying they're still good opposition, but I thought he was calm. I thought he was assured. I thought you could see him talking a lot on the pitch to Pepe, to the younger players, and I quite like that. And Mari as well did the same. But I thought Xhaka last 2 games has played really, really, really well, and that really pains me to say that, to be fair. But he looks actually looks a bit better at left back than he does in midfield, because I think he's probably got a bit more time at left back, because you've only got one player on you. In the middle sometimes, I think they realise they can get to him, so they hound him a little bit. But again, to your point, I think tonight, again, he played really, really well. I'm being sick at the moment saying that, but...
it's a bit more... The thing is really, I mean, if you're left or right back, especially how we play where they're pushed up a little bit, it's almost a little bit more of a forgiving position if you do put a pass astray. Do you know what I mean? It's a little bit less forgiving than if you're doing it and you're just outside our area or whatever. So
because no one's behind you, Kev. No one's behind
exactly.
You. If you do get away in midfield, someone could be behind you.
Yeah, so it's like I say, it's a little bit more of a forgiving position for anybody to play in, really. Mm-hmm. But it kind of almost suited us, really, and the fact that the way Arteta wants our left and right back to play is to almost come inside when we're attacking. So they want the left and they almost want them to sort of join up as part of the midfield, so that the wide men can actually get more space out wide. So it kind of almost suited him, the fact that he's playing left back and he's slotting into the middle every now and then. So it's almost like a nice tactical move by Arteta to actually try him there, really.
Well, do you remember? I don't know if you guys remember. You know, George used to say, didn't he? One forward, one stays. One forward, one stays. So I then think once Jack goes forward, Chambers probably drops over, becomes a third centre half. So therefore, a little bit more work on Pepe, but then gives Xhaka the chance that you really know no one's going to get in behind you. So it gives, as you say, probably a little bit more forgiving to play in that position for him, because he could be a bit slower.
Yeah,
no, exactly.
Andy, you mentioned right at the beginning the stability in defence really helped us, focus on attacking. And I think for me, what I've seen in the last 2 games was that where Xhaka would normally be one of our midfield 3, and whoever was playing, if it's a Tierney, whatever is on the wing, they're often involved, in the attacking third, doing little overlaps and running plays, and they often get caught out. Xhaka normally has to drop back, which means that then our midfield is, we've lost the guy in the midfield for their clearance, and that puts pressure on the central defence if they on a transition, on our centre backs. So in some ways, it felt nice just having somebody like Xhaka, who I thought did a great job, and he doesn't roam as far forward. He's not fast enough to to go for the corner flag and put a cross in. He covers much more of a defensive area of the pitch, and I think that kind of.
And he's got an engine as well. He has got an engine. He's not, like I say, he's not going to. He's not
an Andre Santos.
No, exactly. he ain't going to be winning any 100-metre races. Do you know what I mean? Unless it's against us 3, right? But he still runs all day. Do you know what I mean? He's still
another good thing,
all game. So
another good thing is also, if you look at he's very rarely injured. So I think that also, gives a little bit of stability. Listen, I'm not his greatest fan. I've said that a million times. For midfield, he's not for me. But
he's growing on you.
No, he's not.
I sense you buying a Xhaka shirt. When the Armory next year, Xhaka 35.
Yeah, aren't we walking down the Avenel Road with my Xhaka shirt on? You can imagine, can't you? Yeah. But no, I think going back to.
I'd pay money to see that.
I'll get Xhaka to send. I'll get Xhaka to send you a signed one, and then
it's never going to happen, Paul. It's not worth his while. Going back to your point, I think that is a good point, Paul. I think he does. The fact that Chambers is a centre back, so when he does go forward, Chambers drops in. It also gives you that little bit of. He doesn't drop in too far, so he's also backing Pepe up, Saka up, who played on the right. That's quite a good system, and I think the commentator didn't he allude to it by saying he might have fell into this formation.
I think I've got a different commentary than you, but yeah.
But he hasn't. I mean, I'd say hasn't really just fallen into it though. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there was other options. He could have played Bellerin
Yeah.
and Cedric tonight.
Yeah.
So he's tried
choice,
stuff and he's seen what works. He's clearly made a decision on. Arteta's clearly made a decision on how he wants to sort of play it. Really, I feel.
Well, he likes
not
Mari,
like
doesn't he, Gav? He likes Mari.
Mari's lovely.
Yeah.
What?
I think-
Like I say, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
I think
go
for
on.
one
What-
thing, Arteta, I think being able to play Xhaka and Partey and maybe a Ceballos, and sacrifice one creative, fast wing back. I think it suits Arteta at this point because we've often complained about the leadership on the pitch and the game management and just being able to handle the stress and not collapse around the 17th minute like we generally tend to do. And I think being able to play Chambers and Xhaka, I think it just helps just basically with the energy of the team. It just makes us feel more composed. I think today was a very composed performance in attack and defense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting
hold-
comment. Sorry, Gav. Yeah, go.
No,
For it.
go on. Read the comment out, mate.
So there's a comment here on the screen by Nitzan Bertel. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name. He says, "Remember when Ray Parlour once played right back instead of Dixon?" He then said something like, "There's nothing much to do there." I thought that was quite funny. Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to say, Gab? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just going to allude to Holding and Mari again because, I mean, they both had a solid game in defence, but they're both very, very forward-minded and forward-looking people, and they both were pumping some nice balls about as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And Mari does I think Mari done a couple of occasions, done some quite sort of longish kind of balls, which were hitting the right slot. So there's that to his game as well. I mean, that's why I liked Louise so much because Louise can actually sort of ping a ball halfway across the pitch as well. So there's that side to that partnership as well in central defence.
Well, what's interesting is Holding and Murray don't seem to be, they make accidents. Rob Holding, every now and then he irks people. I think he's fantastic. I like his energy. I like the fact that he's quite a dominant player. I think that, the more somebody's in his face, the more he's back at them. And tonight was a bit like that. He just shrugs people off and he's quite physical when he needs to be. I thought Murray Murray is there. He's solid. They don't draw attention to themselves. But what I was going to say is that their mistakes, when they make them, aren't as costly as either Louise or Gabriel's. And that's kind of why I prefer them. I think that they just, there's something about the two of them together that works. I think they covered each other well. I think Rob Holding goes up, and adds to the attack a little bit. Like you said, Gav, both of them were pinging passes around. Andy, do you have a centre defence pairing that you prefer out of the ones that we've had?
Honestly, Paul, I like Gabriel. I've got to say, I think for a young kid, I think he's our future. But again, I like, Rob Holding. I always, as you guys alluded to just now, go back to the cup final against Diego Costa.
Yeah.
And I mean, he bullied Costa all over the place. And he was at his peak then, he was horrible and he was... So I like Rob Holding and I like Mari and I like Gabriel. It's hard to... I wouldn't want to be upset to pick 2 out of 3 out of them, to be fair.
But if you had to choose for a pairing, is there a pairing that you... Because I feel Louise and Gabriel work better together than... And Holding and Marie work better together than a mix-up of any of those.
Yeah,
it's almost
I think that's hard to argue, Paul. I think anyone would find that hard to argue. I think Mari and Rob Holding do look... And to be fair, I'll go back to what I said earlier. I thought Callum Chambers had a good game tonight as well. So, yeah, it's going to be one of them, isn't it? And especially with this, the kid from... the French kid, Saliba, to come in as well. We've got Mavropanos out on loan as well. I mean, that's going to be quite... he's going to have an abundance, especially if Louise leaves. He's going to have an abundance of centre backs, isn't he? So, but you need a big squad. So,
and the experience just all adds up. The more these players at the back can play games and play against different types of opponents, it just all helps. So it's great that they're all getting a lot of time.
Which is why you need European football as well. I think
exactly. That's a good point. It's a very good point.
Definitely.
I was going to move on to rapid fire ratings, which is normally where we just, quickly go through the team and give our ratings. But from the conversation, it seems like pretty much everyone is like a solid 7 or 8. I didn't feel there was anyone who
9
Is
all
there-
of them for me.
9 for all of them. Okay, that's
Yep,
good.
every single one of them.
That's brilliant.
Yep.
Nine's
Yeah,
good.
I'm not-
Gav?
Oh,
I'm
the
not-
referee had a good game as well. Just running it in.
9 for the referee too. I don't think we got a yellow
Well,
card.
I wouldn't-
did we? Oh, Martinelli.
I'd never.
did.
Yeah, I'd never give him 9. I'd
Yeah,
never
that
give
was
a
a
referee
daft
9,
one.
Paul, but
That was a bit harsh,
the
wasn't it?
referee
Because
did
it looked like yeah, that was a bit crazy.
See, the thing,
Gav?
it depends. It depends how you do your scoring, right? See, I look at if the keeper keeps a clean sheet, then he gets a 10 because he can't do much better than keeping a clean sheet. And if the defenders in front of him don't screw up, then they've got to get a 9. If they're assisting or scoring, then they get a 10. Do you know what I mean? So it's all how you sort of how everybody.
So it's binary for you. You either get a 9 or a 10.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, how can you give a keeper a 9 when he kept a clean sheet?
Well, maybe his
perfection.
distribution sucked, or
Yeah. Well, that's subjective, isn't it?
Well, everything's subjective, isn't it, Gav? Really? I mean, even statistics are subjective. What's that comment?
Yeah,
It says
fair one.
statistics are not used for illumination. They're used more like a lamp for a drunk to lean against. Anyway, something like that.
Fair enough.
I'm screwing up that quote. But,
No shit.
for
It's a
once,
pub,
it's
Paul,
me
you're
screwing
allowed.
things up, Gav. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so moving swiftly along, the last little section that I'd like to get to is the headlight, which is what's coming up, and we've talked about it a little bit. Touched on that we're in the meaty part of the the end game. Andy, do you want to talk about the possibilities of? I think we could meet Dinamo Zagreb or Villarreal. Do we know who it is yet?
For the Royale, isn't it?
Villarreal was
I
2-0
think.
up, and so I think it's definitely
Yeah.
Villarreal. I think.
Okay, so the game you were alluding to earlier is at the semi-final of Champions League.
It was. I said to a pal of mine, Paul, in the ground, I said to him, if Lehman saves this, we'll win this competition.
Yeah, and we
know.
almost did.
Yeah, did we just? And I just said to the wife, I said, Thierry Henry, 1-on-1 with the keeper in his home stadium, in his home city, you'd have banked him, wouldn't you, to do that? So, anyway,
Yeah.
we digress. But if you're looking for the end of the season or what's coming up for me, Paul, is I'd like to see the real Arsenal a bit more. The first half Arsenal we saw tonight. I'd like to see a nice win on Sunday against Fulham.
That's going to be a tough game, that, right?
It will.
Well, they're
'cause
fighting for their lives, aren't they, for them?
Yeah, Paul Parker. Look at me. Scott Parker knows his game, and they've been unlucky in a few games. But if we can win again on Sunday, a little bit of momentum going. So what Gav said is the meaty end of the season. It might just be coming. I'm praying, obviously. I just think it might be coming. We might just be a nice little bit of form at the right time. Please hold.
Do you think, is there any chance that Odegaard, I think he was training today, right? Is that correct? Did I read that somewhere?
So somebody on Twitter said, yeah, that he was. I mean, to me, he's a must to keep if we can in the summer.
It'll be nice if we can get him back also to play a couple of these games at the end. I mean,
Yeah,
here's a question.
Yeah.
Here's a question. This came up in the comments, Gav, before we get to your headlight. Just address this for me. Speaking of Odegaard, the maths debater, with somebody with a lift and a floppy wrist. He says, "Who's better, Smith Rowe or Odegaard?" I'm not sure what better means, but Gav, do you want to address that?
I think, like
Glad
I
you went
say,
to Gav first, Paul.
yeah,
So
no, cheers. It's a tricky one. I mean, Odegaard's obviously, he's clearly a very, very talented player, and he clearly links things up well. I think there's room for both of them, especially if we're, for the rest of the season, playing twice a week, which we really hope that we're going to be doing. But there is possibly a way of playing them both together as well against certain opposition. So I don't think it's an automatic choice between the two of them. If we can keep the kid, and we know we're keeping him, then again we've got to play him more and use him more. But if he is going back to his original club at the end of the season, then I'd rather see Smith Rowe getting the minutes. If I'm being honest, I would use Ødegaard when Smith Rowe needs a rest.
Wow, yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
You've got. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be looking to
That
next
problem.
season.
I mean, it'd be great if we had the problem of Ødegaard next to have. I'm not sure. This also to question. Ceballos has had a run of being, let's just face it, pretty shit. I thought he was, you saw what it was that made us excited about him when he, purple patch, What do you think will happen?
Ødegaard for me all day long, Paul. I think if you look when he, I mean, listen, I would never get rid of Smith. I think, as I said, I think he's Bergkamp-esque. I think to bring him on, but this kid Ødegaard, I think, is very special. I think when he first came in, and you look at our players, all 11 of them, I think he's a little step above probably most of them, if I'm honest. I think I actually think he could be an absolute worldie if we can keep him. And I know he's only young, he's only 22, I think.
Yeah, he is young, very young.
He's young. So for me,
there's been articles in Norwegian press, where he said that he likes being at Arsenal, and I think he likes being appreciated and likes getting the game time and the stability and of knowing, where he would fit if he stayed. Just say here's a decent proposition. If we can't get Ødegaard, but they offer us Ceballos, would you take him?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
It's only worth. I do like Ceballos, and I think the biggest comment that we can pay him tonight is he fitted in and we didn't notice him. He was seamless. He was seamless in the team tonight. So that's really what you want from a player in his sort of position. You don't want them struggling or putting balls, astray, sort of thing. So the fact that we haven't really spoke about him or Partey tonight, we haven't mentioned either of them till now. So to me, that's a good thing, because they're the sort of players you don't really want to have to say that they had to do too much work or they looked under pressure. But unless we're gonna go on.
Sorry, Gav, go on, mate. Sorry, go on.
Go on after you.
I was just going to say, how many goals has he scored this season?
Oh, 1 or 2, if that.
Well, yeah, but from central midfield, if you're looking at, to me,
need more than that.
You need more than. And not only that, again, I'm not going to get slaughtered for this, but he's a Spanish Aaron Ramsey. He's not. You need somebody in that midfield. You need pace wide left for me, and I don't know how he's going to do that, Saka or whatever he's going to do, but you need someone in the middle who's got a bit of guile, who can who can walk forward with the ball, not keep going sideways, and can maybe create and score from the middle. We don't have that.
Right.
Nah.
And Ceballos ain't the answer for me. Sorry,
I do agree, but if we hadn't had him this season, we would be in a worse position. Because we've got, like I say, that's probably one of our biggest Achilles heels at the moment.
Mainly because of the gap that we have, that he did at least partially help for a period. But I think what Andy's saying is interesting, is that while he's just a luxury really that we can't afford. If he came from like Norwich or something and he was like a £50,000 a week salary, he'd be great to have around. Like you said, Gav, he doesn't draw attention. When he's good, he's pretty decent. When he's bad, he's not horrible. But maybe as like a loanee on quite high wages, it's just a luxury we can't really afford. We need to find somebody better. But
again, we've still got to go out and find that player and purchase that player. And let's be honest, we're Arsenal Football Club. We really shouldn't be taking players on loan anyway.
Yeah. Right. Well, for 2 years in a row too. Yeah.
Yeah, we shouldn't really be we shouldn't really be in a position where we have to get players in on loan.
And I don't want to upset you,
it's
Gav,
tough.
with this one, but I don't know, because it comes back to as you were saying earlier about the club. But I think the ideal scenario in the summer would have been Party and LOR, the kid from is it Leon?
Yeah.
I think the attacking.
Yeah.
I think Arteta wanted them both, and that would have been a new look midfield. You can probably then have your Ceballos hanging about maybe and doing little bits here and there. But as a starter regularly, not for me. Not when you look at what Odegaard's done when he's come in.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
We've got Aziz as well, coming through the ranks, and maybe he fills that,
that role as
faster,
well,
more
yeah.
athletic. He might be able to do more of an attacking left side, with the guile you're talking about without the.
Yeah, I'm quite amazed, Paul,
interesting.
that actually Ceballos come from Real Madrid. I'm not quite.
Yeah.
Sure. You don't really get. Do you know what I mean? You don't really strike me as a Galacticos, does he? If I'm being honest, but.
Yeah, maybe his dad's the owner or something.
He's not going to, like I say, he's not going to get in their team, is he? Let's be honest. Do you know what I mean? But if he's going to be with us next year, it means we've either bought him, and we bought him for a very, very good deal, or he's gone. But again,
that's what I'm saying. It's a horrible decision.
We're going to need another body. We are.
Do you not think, though, Gav,
we're a body missing.
Do you not think, though, that's very Arsenal-like, would be to let Odegaard go back and sign Ceballos? It does.
Well, I don't know about our choice at this point. All I'm saying is if they don't let us have Odegaard, but they do let us option Ceballos, whether it's to buy or to... I mean, you can't loan somebody for 3 years in a row, can you? Anyway, I don't know if that's...
I don't know. Madrid do it all the time, don't they, Chelsea?
Yeah, but I mean, can you loan the same player for 3 years in a row from one club? That just seems weird. I mean, have we done that before? Have we ever loaned somebody for 2 years in a row?
No.
We've only ever loaned people for like the end of a season and then hung on to them for way too long. Anyway, so I'm hoping we can. I hope we can deal with our transfer issues and not have some of these weird anomalies that we've had. With loaning Cedric and then buying him halfway through and all that other stuff. Hopefully that's not going to happen.
Very Arsenal.
Yeah, Nitson. It is very Arsenal-like. Nitson Bertel said Aziz had a great goal versus Blackburn last week. I didn't see it. I don't get to.
Yeah, it was a good goal. To be fair, yeah.
Yeah.
He was on the bench again tonight, wasn't he? He was on the bench again tonight, right, Aziz?
Yep.
So it's getting closer and closer. Well, yeah, it'll be. I don't. Is there going to be a pre-season this year? Does anyone know about that?
I don't think it's been announced yet if there's going to be.
Not with the Euros. So that's. Sorry, Gav, carry on.
No, I'd like to see the club go back to what they used to do, and if the country is in a position in June, July, August where crowds are allowed back in, then I'd love to see us back again at Barnet. Do you know what I mean? Perhaps Portsmouth, or do you know what I mean? Let's go. If the club want to play 3 or 4 sort of pre-season friendlies, let's take it around the country. Take it around the country, and let's get full crowds in for some of these clubs that will really generally respect and generally need Arsenal coming to town and putting gate money in their pocket. So that's from
Dover's one then, Gav. They can come down to Dover any time they like. I'll Jim Palmer to the chairman. He'll love you, honestly. Trust me.
That's a good call, and we get a chance to watch watch the youngsters.
Exactly.
The guys knocking on the door, get a chance to wear the shirt.
But you know what I'm saying? That's got to be a lot better for British sport and English sport than travelling halfway around the world whilst the pandemic's going on in countries that aren't fully vaccinated and blah blah blah. Pump some money back into this country's economy. Help the clubs that are further down the pyramid. Do you know what I mean? Dover would be a good one. I'd go down there. Do you know what I mean?
You'd love it. I'll get you in a box. I'll get you an executive box. Trust me. Good
I'd last
fly
about
out for
5
that.
minutes. I'd last about 5 minutes, mate. You know I would.
No, listen, the chairman's all right, Jim. Trust me, he'd be like you, Gav. Trust me, he don't mind a few words.
And is that Dover FC? Is that what it's called, Andy? Or-
Yeah, the Lily Whites. Yeah, it's. I'll tell you what it is, Paul. Just quickly, I met the fella and Jim Parmenter, and he's the owner, and his wife Sally have done a fantastic job with Dover. Seriously, they pumped a lot of money into it, and it when I went as his guest, it was like going back to watching the Arsenal in the 70s and the 80s. It was just
Oh wow!
you felt part of the club. It was I can only describe it as that. If you ever get a chance when you're this way, we'll go down there, and it's a really good day out.
I'm going to hold you to that. Brilliant.
Okay, mate.
I've you know, for me, it's quite expensive, you know, watching on my team play. People complain about like Gav complains about his silver membership and all this stuff. You know, when I have to pay like £1,400 just to watch one game or watch us get beaten by 5 goals by Bayern Munich or something, you know, it's a long way to travel. You know, like all the games seem precious, but I've found that I enjoy the away games so much more. Like I generally try and go to. And I've been lucky, people, you know, getting me tickets, and I've gone to see a lot of away games. And there's just something about being in a crowd where there's only 1,000 or 1,500 of you against, you know, Liverpool or City or you know whoever it is, and you get that sense of what it's like to be, you know, a Gooner and your Arsenal tribe, and everyone's like looking out for each other. I really enjoy the away games way more than the Emirates.
Well put. Well put.
Should say back in the day. Back in the day, we would take regularly take between 6,000 and 8,000 all over the country, mate.
Oh,
that was when it was mental. I mean, like 88 in the League Cup, I think we took about 9,000 to a midweek game against Liverpool, right? And had the whole of that Anfield. Was you there that game, Andy? The one all where Rocastle scored that beauty.
Rocastle scored. Yeah, scored a peach and all, didn't he? It was a peach.
Absolute gorgeous goal, yeah. And then going like West Ham, and we'd have the whole of that end at West Ham, and there must have been like 7,000 of us at West Ham. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'd have to
had a goal at Spurs, Gav, when we had the whole end.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So it's just that's the only shame thing. I mean, I think the last big away one really was was Cardiff. Do you remember Cardiff away in the FA Cup? It was 0-0.
I thought he was going to go back to the Mickey Thomas one.
No, God, no, not that one. Oh, don't. Yeah, I'm glad I went to that one. Do you know what I mean?
Well, before we go through every goal, we might do.
We're in a pub.
It is a pub, and it's encouraged, and I can't wait to actually be back in one of the amazing Arsenal pubs that must be struggling right now. I hope they're all okay, and that we can all get back together and have a proper drink, and then head off to Dover and watch. Anyway, guys, I think we're at the end of it tonight. I just wanted to thank you both for being here and joining me in the pub, and it was a great game to celebrate, and we through into the semi-finals and hopefully beyond. So Gav, thanks for joining us.
No problems. Thank you. I'm hoping that Andy's going to join us for one of the semi-games as well, mate.
Yeah, that'd be great. Andy, it's been wonderful.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, I've enjoyed tonight. It's been really good. And listen, Paul, just quickly, don't let Gav moan about with all the money he's on. Honestly, mate.
Right.
Gav, who would Gav be if he, then if he couldn't have a good moan, then what would be nothing left of Gav. We love Gav. Gav, we love you. Anyway, Andy, thanks again for joining us, and thank you all for your comments and for watching and for supporting the channel. Please follow us on Twitter and subscribe on YouTube. We just do this, we plug at it week in, week out, and it's just for fun. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but it's been great to have you along for the ride. We'll see you next time. Up the Arsenal.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, Paul. Cheers, Gav.
Cheers, lads.
Go on, the Arse.